you're in my line of work, you study people that are in the public eye who communicate. And I want to tell you what I learned on the day of the 2025 presidential inauguration. Now, I know you're going to think, did I pick up some thoughts from Amy Klobuchar as she introduced President Trump's inauguration? No. Did I pick up something from President Trump? No. That's not the lesson we're going to look at today. And by the way, I study politicians on both sides of the aisle because what they do, their bread and butter is what I do, which is communication specialty. And if you're not a communicator, you're not going to be a very good politician. But the person who I learned most about communicating is not who you would expect. So, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Sam Linton Show, the podcast designed to help you shift your mindset, find your voice, and change your world. Sam is a pastor, coach, and expert communicator, helping leaders and entrepreneurs like you step into their purpose, speak with confidence, and make a lasting difference. So let's dive in.
Okay, so housekeeping before we open up the floodgates on this very important lesson, probably one of the most important lessons that I'll share with you on the Sam Linton Show thus far, is you will notice, if you are one of my ravenous fans of this show, that it is 2 days late. And even though I don't know anybody that is sitting there waiting with bated breath at 5 a.m. on Monday to listen to this show, I will tell you that the reason why it was late is because I suffered a really stupid, well, let me back this up. I got into 2 fights. Okay, I'm not one to fight. I'm not a scrapper. I know you might think, well, this guy looks tough. He's probably the guy that challenges people whenever he goes out. He's probably the guy that, goes into alleys just looking for shady people to punch and initiate some sort of conflict with. That's probably what all of you are thinking if you've listened to any of my episodes for any length of time. And to tell you the truth, I started 2 fights and I lost 2 fights this past week. The first fight that I started was with a couch. Okay, I know. The couch, as I am speaking about this, is just a couple hundred feet over that direction. And I could hear it taunting me. And this is what it's saying. It's saying, Sam, you thought you could pick me up on your own, but you forgot that you were 42 and I am 4. I don't know how old the couch was. I got it on Marketplace for free. But my point is, it was heavier than what my back would permit. So I injured my back. Not a big deal. Everybody injures their back. I am not, I'm not immune to that type of thing. So I pulled it, little tenseness in my muscle, and then I went on with my life for the remainder of the week until I ended up with a massive amount of pain through my back and into my leg. Couldn't move. Did something weird by trying to walk and could not put weight on my leg. I ended up in the hospital for a couple days. Long story short, I did some stuff to some discs and a nerve in my back. I don't need surgery, thank God. But I knew that I was going to be behind on my schedule for this episode. So I apologize in advance for not having the resiliency, but the hospital would not let me bring my podcast equipment in there. So I say all that to say that was unplanned. And if you are a fan, I apologize for the 2 days of latency. But here's what I don't apologize for. Things happen. Things happen to you in your role at your job. And most of the people that listen to my podcast are executive people. So you're the person that people look to expecting that things aren't going to go wrong. But spoiler alert, things are going to go wrong. And spoiler alert part 2, that's French for 2. Duh. That's the way I say it. It probably doesn't sound as dorky in French. Spoiler alert part 2 is that things are going to go wrong when you are speaking. It's going to happen. Things are never going to go wrong when you do the dress rehearsal. Well, of course not. They're not going to. When you do your microphone check, of course they're not going to go wrong. They're going to go wrong when you don't want them to go wrong, which is when everybody is paying attention to you. So, the example that I learned the most from in the 2025 presidential inauguration is not from President Trump. It's not from the other people that came to the inauguration. It is not from other speakers that you saw at the victory rally, none of that stuff. The one who you could stand to learn the most from the 2025 presidential inauguration is Carrie Underwood. Yep, Carrie Underwood. She is the one who bears at least 20 to 25 minutes studying. And you're like, but Sam, she didn't speak. All she did was sing. Exactly. She sang. She had the unbelievable amount of pressure of having to perform the song right before the inauguration during the beginning parts of the ceremony. And she was tasked with singing the song, God Bless America. Now, why is this a big deal? Number one, because Carrie Underwood is a celebrity. And as you have noticed, and I'm not going to get political here, but I'm just telling you what the facts are, most celebrities tend to lean to the right of the political aisle. President Trump obviously is on the right, President Biden on the left, but Carrie Underwood was asked to sing and she accepted. So that alone puts pressure on. But here was the bigger pressure. If you didn't see this, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk to you about it. So if you want to stop and Google Carrie Underwood's performance during the presidential inauguration 2025, go do it now and then come back and you'll hear my commentary. But here's what happened. She goes up, beautiful as she is. She's ready. You know, everybody's ready for her to sing. They know that she has a set of pipes on her. She's going to knock the doors off of the place. It's going to be amazing. But something happened. Here's what happened. She had a background track that was going to be played behind her, performed by the Armed Forces Chorus and the Naval Academy Glee Club. So this was a heavily produced background that was going to make her already angelic voice sound light years above because she has this amazing background. And when she started the performance, nothing happened. They couldn't get the music to play. Have no idea why. Something happened with the sound system. I know they had originally planned on the inauguration being outside. They had to move it inside. Maybe they didn't check. Maybe somebody forgot to plug the CD player in. Nobody knows. I wasn't there. You weren't there. But what we do know is she went for almost a minute waiting for the music to come on, and it didn't. And she stood there in a very awkward moment where literally people from all over the globe, not just America, but all over the planet Earth, are watching to see what she does. So what does she do? She smiles. She looks at the person that's producing, or whoever the sound person is, and she goes, I'm just going to sing. She mouths it. And then she proceeds to sing the a cappella version of God Bless America. And it was amazing. I mean, when I say amazing, it is just, one of the top. And I'm going to tell you why it was amazing. It's not just because Carrie Underwood is a rock star, which she is, and she's amazing. And she's repeatedly produced banger after banger over the years when it comes to performance. Not that. That was what you would expect, and sure, that's a part of it. But here's why it was amazing. It was amazing because you saw something unbelievably beautiful come out of a moment that was a plane crash waiting to happen, or a train wreck waiting to happen, whichever vehicular term would give you less anxiety. I mean, it was like, for most of us, myself included, I think I would have trouble trying to figure out how to recover when the whole world is watching me and I don't have background vocals. I don't have jack. I don't have timing. So I'm going to tell you the things that you can learn. I'm going to give you a handful of observations that I wrote down about this that you should be learning when it comes to your own communication, especially if you're an executive, especially if you have people that are watching you, which most of you do. Your being judged based on your communication. You are being evaluated on your ability to carry your communication across the finish line. So, a couple things you need to know. Number one, there is going to be an unexpected technical failure. There's going to be an unexpected technical failure, no doubt. I talked about this previously, but you want to make sure that whenever you are speaking, whether it's over Zoom, Teams, or you're in person, that you recognize that the likelihood of there being a problem is never 0%. It's never, no chance whatsoever. And one of the rules that I live by that this could help you is I call it, I'll give it 3. I give 3 attempts to fix whatever it is. So I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I was speaking at church. I talked about this, I think, a little bit. And we have a soundboard that needs updated. That we don't need the money to buy it. I mean, of course, the church always needs money, but we have money in the budget to buy it. We have the soundboard, but right now we're in that transitional period. But this is what pushed us over, pulling the trigger on getting a soundboard. I started speaking and nothing happened. My microphone went off. Now, I can project pretty well. I'm pretty loud. My wife would say I'm a little on the loud side. I would tell her she's a little on the sensitive hearing side. Eventually, those bridges come to the middle and we just don't agree. We agree to disagree, which is fine. But I can project really well. But the problem is our services are all broadcasted on the internet. And our services are also simulcasted into another building on the church's campus. So when the microphone doesn't work, I cut off half of the church that are on the other side of the campus that are expecting to hear, and I cut off the internet. So it's basically like I'm cutting off, 2/3 of the audience. So I had to get it together and try to figure out what I was going to do. So my rule of 3 tries came into play. Number one, I tried to shift to a standing microphone that was there, and I asked if I could speak into that. That didn't work because the whole soundboard was dead. So number 2, I went over to a vocal microphone for a singer, and I said, I'll just preach from over here. It was just slightly to the left on the stage. They adjusted the cameras, and I walked over and I said, I will take care of this, and just turn power on there. Realized there was no power. I didn't know that it was a soundboard issue because I was speaking from the front. I was not in the back with the sound people. Third thing, this was my third and final attempt. I said, bring me up a wireless, because I thought maybe it was something with the microphones on the stage. I said, just get me a wireless handheld and I will do fine. And they brought that up. That also did not work. My point is this. After that, I said, okay, this is all we can do. I'm sorry, and let's jump right into it. And I started speaking. And then eventually they got the power back onto the board and la-da-da-da-da, and I preached, and it was nerve-wracking. But here's the deal. That's going to happen. I've been doing this for 21 years. That is going to happen, no question. But the question is, how much of it is going to take up my time? And my rule is I will try to fix it 3 times. I'll give it a little bit of time, and if I can't get it, the show must go on, whatever that means. If it's the Teams meeting, I'm going to end it, reschedule it. If it's a Zoom call, I'm going to, and my computer freezes, I'm going to jump into a backup computer, apologize, and do the training. I don't let technology become what limits what I'm there to do. Now, Carrie Underwood, she gave it enough time, in my humble opinion. I'm not a musician or a performer in that regard, but she let it go for an awkward amount of time, but then she's like, we got to sing. I mean, there's other things we have to do today. We're putting a president in office, right? This is not, my song is important, but it's not the most important thing. It's the most important thing in this moment, but I have to sing. So she anticipated the unexpected technical failure, all right? Second of all, she made a confident pivot. And when it doesn't work, you have to make a confident pivot. So more important that you make the right decision in those moments is that you make any decision in those moments. You see, there's 2 types of people that you will find in these situations. You'll find a person who, when these things happen, they freeze like a Christmas Eve icicle. They look at the technology and they look at the problem. Let's say it's not technological. Let's say it's something that you have to deal with, like somebody interrupts you, or maybe you were supposed to deliver a meeting about one set of instructions and then you realize you looked at the wrong set of instructions, whatever it is, and you're thrown off your game. Even though you don't know what the exact right decision is, you have to be willing to make a calm pivot to whatever the decision is. Am I going to just, hey, I'll cancel this meeting, we'll reschedule it in 30 minutes. Hey, I'm going to power through this. We're going to take a meeting that goes from 40 minutes down to 10 minutes, and then we'll catch the rest of this on an email. Hey, the stage is on fire right now. The sound machine isn't working, or the sound system isn't working, so I am going to just give you 5 quick things, and you could take them with you, and then you could put yourself on my email list and I'll send you the rest of the talk, or I'll send you a video later. Whatever the decision you make in that moment, don't worry about making the best decision. Just worry about making a decision. And you have to be willing to pivot. So when Carrie Underwood looked and she said, I can just sing it, and told the sound technician, hey, you know what? I'm driving right now, so just get out of my face and let me wow this crowd with some beautiful vocalers. That's what happened. She made a calm pivot, and she was all the better for it because we all stood with our mouths on the floor as she performed maybe one of the best ever renditions of that song. Arguable. It's not a new song, and other people have sang it, but I'm just saying the problem wasn't the greatness wasn't just from her voice, but it was the way she handled it. So you have to be willing to pivot, make a decision. No decision is a decision. If you sit there and wait for them to figure it out, you're basically saying you have given over your communication to somebody who's not as invested as you. I mean, let's face it. We all remember, well, some of us remember, some of you are young. I don't know how many years ago it was that Mariah Carey got up and she was on the New Year's Eve, when the ball drops in Times Square, and she sang, and it was a dumpster fire. I mean, it was articles for days. They mocked her, all this stuff. Well, I know enough about my craft when it comes to being at the church and performance that I don't think that this was just her. I mean, it could have been just her, but here's the problem. Every single talk that she had, every interview she had post New Year's Eve was the sound person. They suck, they did this, they didn't do this. In the actual performance, she called the sound person out. And so my thought, whatever she could have done, I don't know what she could have done, but being willing to really own it and just say, I'm going to sing this a cappella. I mean, it probably would have been better with the Armed Forces Chorus and the Naval Academy Glee Club, but to tell you the truth, I think Carrie Underwood became a rock star even more in that moment because she didn't blame anyone. You didn't see her interviewing and saying, oh man, the sound team sucks, or this already shows you what the Trump administration is going to be like. They can't even get the sound right, or somebody on my team didn't plug my mic. I don't know. It could have been, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a sound engineer. All I know is she could have blamed someone, but you never want to put somebody in charge of your performance that has less invested in that performance than you do. So you want to make sure that you feel confident enough moving. So that will get me to the next part. She took a risk by not only singing a cappella, but what she did, and the third thing you can do, is she involved the audience. Now, if you have any awareness of how much this impacted the performance, you saw when she stood and said, look, you know the words, help me out here. And she asked the audience to sing, which they knew the words. And they began singing with her, and she involved them. And they were glad to be involved. And this is one of the little secrets of presentations and communication that hardly anyone ever talks about. And ready, and this is important. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The audience wants you to win. They get no benefit from you having a meltdown publicly. Your team that you manage gets no joy from watching you crash and burn at a meeting. So you have to realize that she employed a mixed, it's a smaller group, a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians there, but she appointed them as a part of this performance, and she made them feel important. So don't overlook the opportunity you have when things kind of go to hell, when you're in a situation like that, to really stop and get other people to invest in your success. She did that amazingly. You know the words, help me out here. It showed humility. It also showed an unbelievable amount of risk, but not too much risk, because she's performed in front of enough people. I'll bet she realized that those people there, whether Republican or Democrat, whether people supporting her performance or not, wanted her to perform well. And she did. She did. So you expect the unexpected tech failure. You pivot, make a decision. You improvise and involve the audience. Those are some things you could do. And then the other thing you have to realize is you take the train wreck as an opportunity to reinforce your strength as a leader. You take the train wreck as an opportunity to reinforce your strength as a leader. When her performance was over, one of the most notable things is even President Biden, who, this wasn't a good day for the Democrat side of the aisle, folks, but even President Biden made it a point to tell her, good job. Now, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because the sitting president congratulated her. The now newly elected incumbent president was excited for what she did. And the response, pretty much across the board, was how phenomenally she handled this. So what she did, instead of crashing and burning and saying, hey, this is a sound person's fault. Hey, this just shows you how corrupt Washington, D.C. is. Hey, this just shows you how much technology sucks. She ran with it and she reinforced herself. What came out of that, no matter how awkward it was for that moment, she reinforced herself as a leader. When you mess up, or when technology fails you, or when your body fails you, if you physically have a problem or something happens, whatever, this is an opportunity for you to reinforce your strength and resiliency. You don't get that many opportunities. You don't. And as a leader, it's really important to stack up those kinds of wins, because when they see that things fall apart and you kind of regain your composure and still do your job, what do you think they're going to think about you doing your job in other areas? They're going to see that you're resilient. Now that sermon, going back to my example, I wasn't speaking in front of millions of people, it was just a couple hundred. But I had more people tell me how impressed they were that I didn't fall to pieces. Now, between me, you, and our little lamppost here, internally, I was kind of falling to pieces. I mean, I know I've been doing this a long time, but I couldn't control that people, half the people, 2/3 of the people couldn't hear me speaking. But I didn't let that change what I could do to be there for the people that were able to listen. And I did try to push through, and I would say at the end, it wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. But this is a lesson that we could all learn. It's going to happen to you. If you're a leader and you communicate, this will certainly happen to you. And it's okay. So remember, real simple, okay? You want to make sure that you expect unexpected technical failure or people failure. Expect that something's going to blow up. Make a decision, a calm pivot. You have to make a pivot, okay? When in doubt, involve the audience. Hey, John, my computer just died. Hey, tell me what you think about this thing. Hey, use this time as an opportunity to make somebody else feel important. And then, after that, realize that as you're doing this, this is an opportunity for you to reinforce who you already are as a communicator. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I can help you with this. I am your person. I picked up a bunch of new clients lately that I've been working with. They're all executive level, and I would work with any of you, regardless of what your level is, but executives like that one-on-one touch. So I do VIP days. for executives, where we'll sit together for 4 hours and I will showcase your talents as a communicator and I will bring them out. And where you're rough around the edges, we'll smooth you. And where you are a little bit too smooth, we will put some rockiness in there to get you to be where you are. I had somebody recently send me a message, and this is like really the reason why I've done this job for as many years as I have. I've been working with them for about 11 months. And they said, how could it be that my life has changed so much in only 11 months of working with you? And I told them the truth. I said, it's because I am delightfully handsome and twice as charming. No, I didn't say that. I'm actually humbled by that because this person did all the work. I just observe and give you the encouragement to do what you already know that you need to do. So, with that said, thank you for joining me. I will be on time next time. If you'd like to work with me, podcast@samuellinton.com, podcast@samuellinton.com. But until we meet again, shift your mindset, find your voice, change your world. We'll see you soon. Thank you.